Friends and viewers, imagine preparing for the biggest milestone of your life, your graduation, only to stand alone in a vacant auditorium with no family in sight, a $5,600 bill charged to your account, and the crushing realization that the people you supported for years celebrated your brother instead. What I did next turned their party into a reckoning they'll never forget. Friends and viewers, a commencement ceremony with absolutely no attendees. My uncle announced while recording me in the vacant auditorium I had reserved. Mom messaged, "We're celebrating your brother's new place. Don't take it personally. Love you." Then Dad followed up, "Food costs are going on your account. Total is $5,600. I left my wallet at home." I responded, "Fine. Just give me a thumbs up." An hour afterward, I arranged a delivery to my brother's fresh address. They were happy until they saw what I'd written. That's when the phone calls began. "My name is Jamie. I'm 27, the first person in my family to complete university, and the eldest child who discovered early how to balance expenses, part-time work, and being everyone's unofficial tech support. I'm the person who works overtime, who confirms departure schedules twice, who reserves venues because I understand how these things work. I don't party much. I monitor spending, and I carry backup batteries in my bag like it's sacred practice. I'm also the child they overlook when celebrating achievements." That morning, I fastened my graduation robe with trembling fingers. I'd booked the modest campus space for 1 hour following the main ceremony. Nothing fancy, just a clean area with portable seating, a wireless speaker, coffee dispensers, and the celebration cake I purchased with my final overtime payment. I positioned my phone stand near the platform and arranged programs with my name printed correctly. It seemed foolishly optimistic. I stood beneath the harsh lighting and inhaled air that smelled of cleaning solution. The maintenance worker flashed me a thumbs up and said, "Well done, Chief." I smiled as if I felt confident. 5 minutes went by. 10 other graduates passed with relatives and decorations. Every wave felt like exclusion. Every embrace like a window I couldn't enter. My device remained stubbornly silent. The family chat where they usually flood brunch pictures became an endless blue void. Friends and viewers, a commencement ceremony with absolutely no attendees. My uncle declared far too loudly while filming me from the entrance like I was some rare phenomenon. He swept across the vacant seating and made a low whistle. Unprecedented. I gazed into the camera lens. My mouth went parched. He chuckled. "Just playing, kid. They're running behind schedule." He spoke as though tardiness was a permanent residence. I glanced at my phone. A fresh message from Mom illuminated the display. "We're celebrating your brother's new place. Don't take it personally. Love you." The typing indicators appeared again. Another text arrived before I could finish the previous one. "Dad here. Food costs are going on your account. Total is $5,600. I left my wallet at home." My grip tightened on the device. The display went fuzzy, then cleared. I sensed the delicate tape securing the cake container strain as if it might snap from tension alone. Uncle continued recording. "Show some happiness." I refused to smile. I observed the platform, the inexpensive sign bearing my name, the vacant seats I had purchased individually. I considered how Mom always claimed, "Family appears when it counts." That's everything. I remembered last month when I repaired Dad's email while he lectured me about choosing fewer optional courses and more practical ones. I recalled my brother purchasing a new television the same week I requested textbook assistance. The fluorescent bulbs buzzed. Somewhere in the corridor, maintenance equipment creaked. "Speak up," Uncle suggested, lowering his device slightly. "For the video blog." He said vlog like it was a medical condition. "I'll forward the link," I replied. He winked approvingly. Perfect response. I positioned myself on the platform edge. I envisioned my family arriving fashionably late with grand excuses about traffic or parking complications. I imagined them embracing me as if the previous hour was meaningless. My chest ached from how vivid the fantasy seemed. 3 additional messages appeared. Aunt Lena shared a balloon symbol. My brother posted a quick video of champagne opening in his new residence. Mom uploaded a picture of an appetizer platter captioned, "Proud of you." The food was crystal clear. The sentiment was blurry. I inhaled deeply. The atmosphere carried notes of sweetness and neglect. "Should I slice the dessert?" Uncle inquired. "Not yet," I answered. He examined his timepiece. "I can't remain much longer. Traffic concerns." "Understood." I rose and straightened the banner because that's my response when situations deteriorate. I adjust minor details and pretend it matters. The wireless speaker reconnected with an upbeat notification sound. Elsewhere in the facility, another family celebrated loudly. My hands began trembling again, this time with a different intensity. I placed the phone screen down. I ignored everyone's messages. I didn't request their presence. I didn't plead. I simply absorbed the electrical humming and the faint sound of my heart attempting silence. Uncle captured one final slow recording and whispered so quietly I nearly missed it. Difficult audience. I acknowledged with a nod. Absolutely. He departed. The entrance sealed, and the hollow space felt like a declaration. I stared at the dessert. I considered cutting perfect portions and packaging them, as if affection could be distributed through careful slicing. I remained motionless. When my hour concluded, I returned the seating I'd arranged for them. I carefully folded the banner and tucked it into my bag like a precious memento. I approached the exit, extinguished the lights, and allowed the darkness to reveal what the family chat concealed. I shed no tears. I shared nothing online. I stood in the hallway and let the stillness envelop me like protective clothing I should have worn long ago. My family's pattern has always involved ignoring emergencies while expecting me to manage repairs and cover expenses. Mom claims I'm financially capable, which translates to absorb every loss. Dad labels me dependable, meaning he expects uncomplaining support for everyone else's decisions. My brother Nico calls me ATM. Sometimes jokingly. Sometimes he forgets the humor. It began modestly. Fuel money, just once. A cellular bill that mysteriously failed autopayment. A deposit for Mom's dental work that insurance would supposedly cover later. Later became a habit, then tradition, then an unbreakable obligation. When I secured my first campus position, Dad requested my banking details for emergency transfers. These emergencies consistently occurred during weekends and sales events. Nico replaced his phone 3 times in 12 months because the camera wasn't capturing light properly. My name appeared on 2 family accounts, 1 fitness membership, and the warehouse store card. When I mentioned paying rent, tuition, and summer courses necessary for timely graduation, Mom reacted as if I'd stated something obvious. We're relatives, she declared. We support each other. I stopped arguing. Resistance brought accusations of ingratitude, theatrics, selfishness. Compliance earned praise as their foundation, their rock, their generous child. Compliments always preceded future requests. When Nico received his dealership promotion, a position Dad arranged after 3 previous jobs proved unsuitable, we celebrated in the backyard. I handled grilling. I purchased decorative lighting. I coordinated neighboring table rentals. At midnight, Nico took a drink and whispered, "Hate asking, ADM, but finances are tight this month." He spoke into my hair like making a toast. 2 months afterward, when I needed $120 for laboratory fees, I contacted the family chat. Anyone available to help temporarily? I'll repay after picking up additional shifts. Mom responded, "Don't make this about money." Dad wrote, "You should budget better." Nico ignored the message. That evening, he posted new sneaker photos captioned, "Couldn't resist." We avoid conversations. We create noise instead. When I attempt discussing limits, Mom says, "After everything we've provided," referring to winter test transportation at dawn, piano lessons I despised, shelter overhead. I appreciate all of it while exhausting myself paying perpetual interest on endless debt. I assumed graduation would reset everything. I'd cross a stage, receive official documentation, and the narrative would finally shift. "We're proud you succeeded. We'll support you this time." Instead, Nico scheduled his celebration identically. He claimed the date was locked with caterers and everyone had confirmed attendance. As if this surprised him. As if everyone excluded people sharing my surname. 1 week before the ceremony, I reminded the family chat. Graduation happens Saturday at 10 o'clock. Reception follows. I reserve the space. I added confetti symbols because despite evidence, I remain optimistic. Nico replied, "Oops. Housewarming begins at noon. We'll visit if possible." Mom wrote, "Don't be inflexible. It's just walking across a platform." Dad added, "Jamie, don't create drama. We'll see you afterward." Afterward in our family exists beside never. That evening, I printed name cards in careful lettering and packed plastic utensils. I pressed the borrowed gown. I created a playlist preventing the room from feeling hollow during congratulations. The day arrived. You understand the remainder. Empty auditorium, Uncle's camera, Mom's message from someone else's kitchen island. The financial impact struck slower than the silence. Initially, Dad's text about catering costs seemed like an error, a poor joke he'd correct with "haha, my mistake." Then I remembered last month he'd requested my new card to order cap and gown because the website malfunctioned on his computer. I disconnected feeling included and warm. He'd photographed my card on the dining table so you won't lose it. I convinced myself it was acceptable since it covered graduation fees only. If you've never experienced the nauseating, weightless sensation of knowing your number currently funds someone else's consumption, let me explain. Your chest recognizes it immediately. I didn't respond. I didn't refuse. I didn't communicate anything. My brain calculated automatically like malfunctioning software. $5,600 represents months of housing. It's reliable transportation. It's the debt I've been escaping through additional shifts that strain my vision. Walking home from the hall, tassel bouncing absurdly against my shoulder, I browse Nico's social media. New furniture, new electronics, people cheering beneath string lighting. He captioned one clip, family first. Mom commented, always. Dad added a flame emoji. I lowered the phone and studied the wall. I attempted breathing without sounding desperate. My aunt called. Saw the posts, she said gently. How are you managing? Fine, I lied. Your mom claims you're being oversensitive. Right. She also wants me telling you not to embarrass them publicly. I observed my empty kitchen. I'm not at their celebration, correct? My aunt explained that's their concern. That evening, I spread bank statements across my table like a map. My name, their purchases, my card, their meals. I highlighted dates with a dull yellow marker that squeaked on paper. I could hear my breathing thin. Some moments your life politely requests attention. Others grab your face. This did both. I considered every casual sure, every it's fine, every don't worry, and how those words constructed a path to an empty hall I funded. Nico posted people clinking glasses. Mom wrote, so proud of what we created. I laughed aloud, a sharp sound that startled me. I opened the family chat. My fingers hovered over keys. I typed nothing. I deleted nothing. I stared until the screen dimmed, showing my reflection. Exhausted and prematurely aged around the eyes. I flipped statements over. I wrote a sentence on adhesive paper, simple and honest. I tucked it in my pocket, like a switch I wasn't prepared to activate. By noon, the housewarming roared at full volume. My notifications pulsed like a headache. Living room tours, pantry walkthroughs, slow zooms on appetizer boards large enough to substitute for coffee tables. Nico filmed himself unwrapping my gift, actually the air fryer I'd purchased him 2 months earlier when he complained his oven ran too hot. He lifted it shouting, ATM delivered. He winked at the camera. Kidding, sort of. I sat on my apartment floor with statements neatly stacked and my laptop open to my bank's fraud reporting page. Then I closed it. I wasn't ready for a story where I quietly resolve everything and nobody learns anything. I arranged a delivery to my brother's new address. Not pizza, not flowers. I ordered 6 plain shipping containers from the same rental company that had delivered his bar furniture. Inside each container, I placed copies, full color, organized, of every expense I'd covered for 4 years. Housing assistance, phones, dentist, emergencies, the mistakes, every transfer, every message where someone wrote, "We'll repay you." On top, I placed a laminated single-page summary. Totals by individual, totals by category, totals by month. At the bottom, I printed a QR code linking to a Google Drive folder labeled Receipts. And the note, the same sentence I'd written in tiny letters the previous night. I printed it large this time. This is the final expense I will ever cover. The courier asked about gift messaging. I confirmed yes. I typed, "Congratulations on your new home. Return what you owe to the address on file. Jamie." An hour later, Nico posted video of the containers arriving. People cheered, assuming furniture. He cut tape with a butter knife. Still filming, still grinning. His expression froze seeing the first page. Someone off camera said, "Whoa." Another voice laughed, then stopped. The room quieted. He flipped through page after page. The camera shook, then died. 30 seconds later, Mom called. I let it ring out. She messaged, "What is this? Take it back. You're destroying your brother's day." Dad texted, "We need to talk now." Nico wrote, "What is wrong with you?" I didn't answer. Instead, I opened the family chat, attached the summary PDF, and wrote one sentence. "Effective today, my cards are frozen, my accounts are locked, and my number is no longer available for emergencies." Mom replied instantly, "Don't be theatrical." Dad wrote, "Your mother is crying. Fix this." A cousin I haven't spoken to in months commented, "Wow, harsh." I photographed the cake still in my refrigerator, untouched except for one fork mark across the frosting where my hand had slipped. I didn't send it. I didn't send anything. The phone rang again. "Aunt Lena." I answered. "Are you safe?" she asked quietly. "Yes." I saw the PDF. She whistled low. "That's not petty. That's a ledger." "I'm finished," I said. She paused. "They're about to make you the villain in a movie they wrote years ago. Keep everything. Screenshots, voicemails, dates." "I have them," I said. And I did. I'd labeled folders. I'd learned from being the person who remembers where the batteries are. The group chat began flooding. 3-way arguments. Mom using my full name like she does when she wants me diminished. Dad invoking respect. Nico repeating, "Family doesn't do this." I opened my banking app. I reported fraud on the catering charge. I added a note. "Card photographed without permission." Merchant confirmed new card number was used for phone authorization by third party. I changed my PIN. I disabled tap payment. I requested a new card to a P.O. box I'd opened last month because some frightened part of me had known this day would come. Finally, I wrote to the chat, collect the containers. Keep the copies. The originals are mine. Mom responded, you always wanted to embarrass us. On your graduation day, no less. I stared at that sentence until it blurred. Then I typed, you were not there. I sent it. I placed the phone face down. I listened to the silence. 5 minutes later, my father called from an unknown number. I answered. He didn't greet me. Did you think this through? He asked. Or, did you act on emotions like your mother? I thought it through, I said. Years of it. Your brother has guests, he said. Important people. You made him look like a fool. He did that when he opened a box labeled receipts. Dad's breath caught. That almost laugh he makes when he's seeking advantage. You think you're better than us now? A diploma won't change your blood. No, I said. I change what my blood will pay for. He hung up. I stared at the wall until the paint looked like geography. Then my phone lit with a new message. This one from an unsaved number. It was a photo of the laminated summary and my note. Someone had underlined the total in red marker. Someone had added in messy handwriting, she's serious. Yes, I was. I thought I would feel hollow. Instead, I felt quiet. Not happy, not sad, just clean silence where clanging used to be. The first 24 hours were loud. Mom called my aunt. My aunt called me. Dad called my boss to discuss Jamie's behavior, which my boss shut down with a crisp. We're not doing this. Nico posted a black square with a caption, some people only give to get. His friends commented fire emojis like they understood. Then came the bills. The caterer called Dad because the card declined. The rental company called because my name was on the chair invoice. Turns out Dad had put my email as the contact because you answer. I forwarded the contract with my signature circled and the word client highlighted. I CC'd their accounts person. Please direct future correspondence to the client. I wrote this email is closing in 48 hours. I said an auto reply that said, if this is a request for money, the answer is no. Mom left me a voicemail crying so hard her words stumbled. How could you do this to your brother? She asked between breaths. On his big day. I listened twice, not to hurt myself, but to hear the script she uses, the one where I'm the villain, so she doesn't have to examine the hole where compassion should be. I saved the message. I saved everything. At work on Monday, my supervisor brought in donuts with a sticky note that said, proud of you, grad. I stood in the break room and read it 3 times. The kindness loosened something in my chest I hadn't realized I'd tightened to a knot. A classmate DM'd me a photo from graduation. Me on stage, hand out, smiling like I might actually deserve the moment. She wrote, your speech was my favorite. I had not given a speech, but I screenshotted the message anyway just to remember that someone saw me in that room. That night, I blocked half my family. Not from spite, from survival. I left my aunt and one cousin unblocked because they speak like humans. I muted the group chat. I turned my phone face down, and the quiet became a place I could live. On Wednesday, an envelope arrived at my P.O. box. Inside, a check from Dad for $400 with a sticky note, a token. Let's move on. He'd written it in the tough love handwriting he uses when he wants credit for being reasonable. I looked at the check for a long time, not because of the money but because of the shape of the words. Token. Move on. He meant accept crumbs and pretend they're dinner. He meant forget the rest. I mailed the check back with a copy of page 1 of the summary and a polite letter. Payments should be made in full or in agreed-upon installments. Partial gestures without acknowledgement of debt will be returned. Please see itemized totals. I added a QR code again because if I've learned anything, it's that people don't read unless the link is a big square. Nico texted from a new number. You're ruining Mom's health. Then 30 minutes later, he sent a photo of a watch with a caption. Treat yourself when life sucks. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. A mutual friend did in his comments. Maybe treat your sister by paying her back. The comment got likes. Then it got quiet. A week later, Mom called from Aunt Lena's phone. I answered because I trust Lena to hang up for me if it goes bad. Mom started soft. We're family, she said. This is ugly. It is, I said. It got ugly slowly for a long time. She sighed. Your brother is under a lot of pressure. So was I said. Silence. Then you embarrassed us. You ghosted my graduation and put a $5,600 bill on my card. I kept my voice level. I returned the ghost. She switched tactics. What'll people think? That I got a degree, I said, and that I finally learned math. She made it sound like a door closing and hung up. After that, the weather changed. Cousins started texting quietly. Not all, but enough. Hey, I saw what happened. I'm sorry. One sent $50 with a note that said, "For cake we should have eaten." I cried then finally for 10 seconds in my kitchen with my forehead on the cabinet because grief leaks out of the strangest places. The day my new card arrived, I put it in my wallet and felt the tiniest click inside me. A reset you only hear when the noise stops. I made a budget labeled me. Line items: rent, savings, therapy intake, a real coffee with a friend where I don't stare at the price. It felt ridiculous and holy. I also sent Nico a formal demand letter. Not from a lawyer, just from me, but with the tone of a person who could Google due dates, amounts, consequences. Not threats, just boundaries with shoes on. He replied with, "LOL, what are you going to do, Sue?" I archived the thread. Actions are quieter than arguments. 2 Fridays later, I went to a small backyard party thrown by my department. Someone made a toast to the grads. People clapped. It was normal and kind, and so unlike my family that my body didn't know where to put the feeling. A professor who never says anything personal said, "You earned all of this." I believed her a little. At 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. A video from the housewarming popped up in my DMs. Someone had screen recorded the moment Nico opened the boxes. You can see the exact second his smile leaves. You can hear someone whisper, "That's a lot." You can watch him drop the pages like they burned. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt accurate. I went home and slept through the night for the first time in months. Here's the part one didn't expect. The emptiness the family left behind wasn't empty. It filled up fast with other things. Morning walks, a library card renewal, a stupid sitcom that made me laugh so hard I scared myself. Coffee with my aunt, where we didn't say the word Nico once. A LinkedIn message about an internship that turned into a job interview that turned into me crying in a bathroom stall because sometimes good news hurts when you aren't used to it. Mom sent one more message through Lena. "We miss you," she said. Like missing me is a thing you can do without seeing me. Your brother says he'll call. I sent back 3 lines. Payments go to the P.O. box. Boundaries stay. I love you from over here. It wasn't cruel. It was clear. When the first installment from Dad finally arrived, an actual amount that had a comma in it, I took a photo of it and filed it in receipts/inbound. I posted nothing. I told no one except Lena. She replied with 3 clapping emojis and then "proud of you." On my fridge, I taped the laminated sentence. "This is the final expense I will ever cover." It looked bossy and a little sad, and exactly right. I keep thinking about that empty hall. The way the light hit the cake, the way the banner folded down into my backpack and came home without any fingerprints that weren't mine. For a while, that room felt like proof that I didn't matter. Now it feels like a moment I stood alone and didn't fall over. People ask what happened with my family, and I say we're taking a break. It's true. We're on a long quiet pause where I live like a person and they learn that my pockets are not public property. Maybe they won't learn. That's okay. I did. The money will sort itself out by plan or by silence. Either way, I stopped paying for their lesson. I stopped paying for their applause. I stopped paying for the idea that being loved means being emptied. A week after I started my new job, the HR rep slid a paper across the desk. "Beneficiaries?" she asked. I wrote my own name on the line that used to go to family. I put Aunt Lena as the secondary. I felt the pen shake a little, then steady. If you want the moral, it's boring and solid. You get to be generous after you're safe. You get to say no without providing a detailed slideshow. You get to keep your diploma and your dignity in the same folder. And when someone says, "Friends and viewers, a commencement ceremony with absolutely no attendees," you can look around the empty room and think, actually, the most important one showed up. I did.